All right. Good afternoon. I'm Daniel Patterson. I'm a public information officer with Texas A&M Forest Service. It's DANIEL PATTERSON. The game preserve fire has now been burning just over 24 hours. It was reported yesterday at around 2:30. It has grown to 3,800 acres and 20% contained. Fortunately, we do not have any reports of homes burned. There are multiple structures that are threatened, but also fortunately, we do not have any reports of serious injury or death, including a good safety record for firefighters, which is very important. This is an all hands on deck effort. Unified command coordinated across local, state, federal level. So there's a lot of resources that are coming into Texas, a lot of firefighters trying to get out in front of these. And then finally, we want to remind people, please, this holiday weekend, be very careful with anything that could produce sparks or heat or flame. If you could avoid it this weekend, that would be excellent. The fire risk is very high. So with that summary, I'll take some questions.
Do you know how many people or homes are having to be evacuated right now?
We don't have a full number on that. We do know there's multiple structures that are threatened, but I don't have a count of people.
And do you know what neighborhood or what area it's at that people are needing to evacuate?
Today there was an addition of Cedar Ridge subdivision, which is closer to 45 over there. And Lost Indian Camp Road is the other spot within 3 miles of there. That was put in place by law enforcement. These are voluntary evacuations that were put in place by law enforcement. The Cedar Ridge one was new today, which is further to the west, closer to I-45.
And as 45, like at risk of closing down or anything?
I-45 was closed a little bit last night by law enforcement. People are going to definitely notice smoke out there. Be careful when you're in the area. We're doing everything we can with aircraft, with bulldozers, with firefighters on the ground to keep the fire back from I-45, but certainly people traveling should pay attention. There is a possibility it could be closed. That would be up to law enforcement. If it became a safety issue, it could be closed again. Right now it's open.
Any shelter in place? The county have a shelter in place for the residents?
There is a shelter in place, and I saw the information inside. I'll have to get that for you. I can't recall exactly, but there is a shelter now.
In shelter right now?
I don't know that,
don't know
but I do know that one has been set up, and I can get you that info at the end of this.
Talk to us about how it started yesterday. How many acres did it start with, and then how quickly it grew to where it's at now?
Yeah, this fire grew very quickly overnight. There was a lot of vigorous burning throughout the night, so it went from about 1,000 acres before midnight to 3,000 acres was our first read. So very strong growth in the fire overnight. Of course, we're in a very hot, dry pattern right here, and that's definitely taken a toll on the landscape. This fire has grown quickly, and it's continued to grow. The wind has a big effect. The relative humidity has a big effect. So we're hoping that the conditions will be a little bit better for firefighting, but certainly the environmental conditions we're in now with the extreme dryness are a challenge, major challenge.
How many agencies or how many people are working there?
We have an all hands on deck approach. There's well over 100 responders on this incident, aircraft, bulldozers, firefighters, fire engines at state, federal, local level. It's a coordinated response and unified command, so we all work together. And so far, I believe the cooperation has been pretty good.
Any idea what might have started the fire at this time?
We don't know. It's under investigation.
Let's talk about the aircraft. What's the function of the aircraft? Where they get the water from where?
So the aircraft can get water from just suitable spots. The helicopter buckets can come down and dip into a pond. We have to get permission to do that, so some people get permission to get water out of their ponds. The scooper planes, they can fly over a reservoir or a lake and get water in their tanks below them and then dump the water onto right out in front of the fire to try to wet down the vegetation and keep the fire back.
Do you know what reservoir they're picking water from?
No, I don't know right now. I could find out.
I think the only thing that we can do is pray for rain.
That's not the only thing we can do. I mean, we could be smart. Anything having to do with sparks or heat or fire this weekend, please don't do it. Just be very cautious. People should follow the burn bans. It's just a very flammable time, and I know nobody wants to have a fire that gets out of control and potentially threatens their neighbors. This is a time for us all to be very careful. And yeah, we do need rain. That's something we cannot control, but certainly it's always good to look to the sky and try to call in some clouds, however we all might do that.
And again, how many acres and how much is the percentage contained again?
20% contained at 3,800 acres right now.
Okay, we saw something that said 4,300, so just wanted to double check.
I will have to double check
Okay,
that.
okay.
I've been out in the field a lot of today,
Gotcha.
and so some of you were trying to reach me by phone.
Right.
It was hit or miss. The communications out there are kind of hit or miss. So if that's on the wires site, then that would be accurate. The other good site to go to is Texas A&M Forest Service Twitter for incident management, or INCI INCI Web. That's the official site for fire facts, but I can double check that for you.
What's the concern of the fire continuing to move westbound? I've seen that it's grown from up here and it's kind of continuously moved westbound closer to the 45.
It depends on the wind. So we've had wind coming out of the east, northeast, and that's been pushing the fire to the west. Right now the winds are light, so that helps us. But the fire's been wind driven and fuels driven to the west toward 45. It's still back a little ways from 45. I mean, flames are not right on the edge of the interstate or anything, but that's a big part of the effort, is to keep that fire back, keep it along the east side of I-45.
Can you talk about the tactics being used to prevent that fire from moving further west, using the bulldozers? What are you doing on the west side of it?
Yes, firefighters, bulldozer operators are scraping out lines. Often these are several bulldozer blade width wide, so wide lines where it's just scraped down to sand. There's no fuel in there, there's no vegetation that can burn, so these lines function as fire burns up to them and then goes out, hopefully. We're also doing some back burning, which is where firefighters will walk along. It's all usually on the edge of a bulldozer line to strengthen the resilience of that fire break. They will go along and burn a small strip. And again, the idea there, and it works, this is common firefighting technique, is to burn off the vegetation, so when the fire, out in advance of the fire, burning off the vegetation, so when the fire comes through, it runs into an area that's already burned, there's nothing there to burn, and it goes right down. That, along with aircraft, we had at least 16 different fixed wing aircraft on this, everything from the jets to the scoopers, all the planes you've been seeing flying around. And then at least 3 big helicopters were on this. So there's been a lot of aviation resources. We're going at this fire. It's still kind of in the initial attack phase. This fire just started, about 24 hours ago, so we're still getting at it.
And how far are these aircraft coming from? I understand they're coming from other parts of the state. How far are they coming from? What are
they come from bases all around. The aircraft can be dispatched from different spots. And they'll typically fly to different incidents, and that's the way this is set up. We've had so many different fires popping up all across Texas, especially East Texas, that everybody's kind of mobilized to go around and to get to spots that catch on fire.
Any idea how long a fire this large could take to be contained?
No, we don't know. We know we're getting at it as quickly as we can. There's an effort for full containment as soon as possible, but I can't predict when that'll be.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.